My name's Dave Dubeau, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. So if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you know that multifamily apartment building investing has been going through a lot of challenges over the last few years. And some folks are looking for alternatives. Some real estate investors are looking for other asset classes to take on that are more beneficial in their eyes. And that's the case for today's guest. We've got Cindy Peach, and Cindy is zooming in from beautiful California. She actually just returned there from BC, my neck of the woods. And what year did you say it was? 1932?
32 Ford Roadster pickup. Yeah.
Wow. A whole gang of them came up here in their vintage vehicles and had a great time. And she just got back home, and here she is on the podcast. So Cindy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, David. I appreciate it. Yeah.
So Cindy, give us a little snapshot of currently, like right now, at the time this is going to be coming out, it's probably September 2025. What does your current portfolio consist of? What are you investing in?
We're currently investing in strip centers that are can be anchored and unanchored or located in proximity of a large grocery or Walmart type of facility, high traffic, high visibility areas. We mainly focus on secondary markets, but also look at tertiary markets that are around, but mostly secondary. We look for a mix of national and service-oriented tenants in those areas. So that's our main focus. The range on square footage usually comes we have about 12 to, we're looking at one that's about 50,000 square feet currently.
Okay, and do you have several of these properties already in the portfolio?
Yeah, we have several of them. They're across the nation, already consistently, in our portfolio. We've actually exited out with 4 of them already and did the full cycle on them. So we've been averaging a 43% IRR on those. Nice. And we just now let go of one of our smaller, strip centers in Kansas, and we're actually in the process of identifying our next investment opportunity.
Okay, very good. So you kind of used to be in the multifamily space. What made you switch over, and why strip centers?
So we used to invest passively in multifamily. We had our own portfolio with retail strip centers. The reason why we're moving away from the multifamily, I think a lot of people have been talking about this. The opportunities are few and far between now. Mm-hmm. It was pretty saturated. Everybody got into it. There's a lot of, unfortunately, some bad debt coming due here in the future. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is the difference between retail and multifamily is multifamily forces appreciation through rent increases, where retail has the opportunity. Those are already built in. They're longer leases. The tenants are there for longer. So those increases are already built in. We don't force appreciation on our properties by just increasing rents. We provide new tenants. We demise larger vacant spaces to provide additional tenants. So when we say demise, we'll take maybe a 5,000 square foot space and break it into maybe about 2,500. I'm just using average numbers. The reason being is larger spaces have less price per square foot than smaller spaces. And it also gives you more of a variety of tenants that you can put into the strip center. The other thing is we do lease optimization. We move over gross leases to triple net. Triple net being, for the viewers who don't understand that, is where we pass through expenses it's a pass through of those expenses, or operating expenses, I should say, to the tenant, such as property taxes, insurance, the common area expenses with lighting, those type of things, landscaping, those will be paid by the tenants. So we can move those over. So that also increases revenue on the property itself, which increases the value of the property.
So it sounds like you've been into the whole strip center investing for quite some time. then
Yep.
got into multifamily on the passive side. Probably went well for a while, hasn't been going so well for the last while. So you
Yeah.
decided to kind of double down on on what you guys do best and that you can control more. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I think we feel really good about, I know we feel really good about our recipe on how to manage these properties,
Yeah.
increase the NOI on them. Um, it's a different type of tenant also when you go multifamily to retail. Retail, these people, this is their business. It's their bread
It's
and
their
butter.
livelihood.
It's their
Yeah.
livelihood.
Yeah.
And so, where a tenant may, you know, not pay their rent or damage the place. This is their
Or
livelihood,
do
and they
do a
take
midnight move.
yeah, midnight move, their
A little
AWL
harder if you're
or
trying to move your
a
store.
wall on it.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's the kind of things that are. It's just a different type of tenant that you'll have in retail.
So Cindy, if you would, please share with me like an example of one of your good deals, kind of like soup to nuts, start to finish. Like what property was it? When did you buy it? How did you find it? What did you do to optimize it? How long did you hold it? What was the exit strategy? So if you can just kind of walk us through an example deal, I think that'll paint a really good picture in our minds of how this works.
Yeah, so we had a property that we have located in Kansas. There's another property that we own there. We purchased it, went in, we
So
did
how did you
some.
find it, first of all?
Well, that's a good question. So we work with commercial brokers across the nation. We found
Yeah.
this an off-market deal.
Hmm.
We were able to purchase it. So we're not dealing with the everything that's looking at Crexy. Crexy's kind of like realtor.com for commercial property.
Hmm.
So we had a realtor that, we found this off market opportunity. We purchased
Nice.
it. We were able to bring in and do some improvements, bring in a new tenant. There was a vacancy. We always look for vacancies. That's an easy way to increase that net operating income and revenue on
Hmm.
that property. And so we were able to do that. It was a small vacancy that we had, and we were able to find a tenant, bring them in, increase that, and we had someone who was looking for an opportunity. They wanted to purchase it, and we had an offer, so we didn't even have it on the market. It's located in a great shopping center. It had a Sprouts Market, a Target, high traffic area, and so when someone came in and made us an offer after owning it for I think about 3 years is what
Mm.
the hold on that was. And we were able to sell that and turn that over into another property. We have another one that the one that actually is behind me here,
Hmm.
is located in Kentucky, and we actually we bought this one. This one was actually 100% occupied, but they actually had been mismanaging the property,
Mm.
and they were looking to when they sold it. So we were able to go in. We found out that they weren't even doing the CAM reconciliation. So that's the end of the year expenses that they have to normalize. So the tenant pays um, uh, a prorated rate CAM fee for the operating expenses throughout the year on a monthly basis, and then at the end of the year you balance it out. They hadn't done that for several years, so there was a
Mm.
lot of CAM slippage there. So we were able to, um,
Just
recoup
tighten
some,
things up.
tighten things up. To talk about someone, we did have one of the tenants leave in the middle of the night and then left,
Huh?
but it gave us an opportunity. Those are opportunities. I look at those as opportunities. It was below market rents, so we
Mm.
were able to go in and bring a new tenant in, which we have now, at the market rent. So it also increased revenue on that. So we've done some of that also, and we also were able to renew leases. They had several releases that were in the point of expiring, and we did renewals on that, which was also a rent bump on those. And we build in annual increases into those leases, so that keeps up with that cost of living for everybody.
Yeah. So Cindy, it sounds wonderful. Nothing is ever all sunshine and flowers.
Mm-mm.
So you guys are in California, your properties are not. So you're quote
Yep.
unquote managing them at a distance. However, if you sounds like you're doing it right, there isn't a heck of a lot of hands-on management that you need to do on site. but still there must be some challenges there. And when you do have tenant turnover, how do you find and how do you get new tenants into the property?
So we work with leasing brokers
Hmm.
throughout the nation, but we're also trying something a little bit new here. We're actually in a beta test. We want to, um, uh, and I don't want to get any leasing brokers mad at me, but we're looking at utilizing ads on YouTube and Facebook to find local businesses and target local businesses in the area. And we use them as a tool with in hand with a leasing broker. And we were able to do this. We're actually testing this out on one of our properties in Wisconsin, and we're actually seeing pretty good results with it. So we've put together some ads on a vacant space that we had, and we've had a bunch of inquiries on that vacancy of people that want to, put in a new business in the area, or actually other businesses that are looking to relocate in that area.
Interesting.
So it's actually a different way of reaching out to them. That the leasing brokers have a lot of good relationships, but we like to use technology in our business to help accelerate that. That can be a time sink, is getting those vacancies filled. Sometimes it
So that's
takes.
that's one of the pitfalls of
That is the one of
uh,
the pitfalls.
commercials is vacancies can be quite long term sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes they sit. I mean, I'm sure people have driven by their local strip center and seen for lease on the window, and it's been sitting there for maybe a year or two.
Yeah.
So we want to accelerate that time, get them in, and then there's also the time that they need to renovate those tenant improvements that they'll need to do for their own business, and
Mm.
so we want to make sure that they have that time to do that, which can take up to 6 months depending on the tenant. If you're putting a restaurant in, there's a lot of changes, maybe not so much for a bookstore, using a simple example, but yes, so we want to be able to accelerate that time that we can get new tenants in, make those changes, tenant improvements, and get that business open and have them start paying rent.
So, Cindy, it sounds like you're working with, well, I would say, would you say smaller strip centers, strip malls, or like I'm not even sure what the lingo is like in that asset
Yeah,
class.
we're actually the definition, I've heard different ones, but I think that I think it's up to 150,000 square feet for a neighborhood strip center, as they would call it. We
Mhm.
work in probably around, we like our spot around 10 up to 50,000 square feet, maybe
Okay.
60,000 square feet. So we're not into the open pavilion, big box type of, strips, shopping centers, or the big
Hmm.
shopping malls. And then there's the outdoor pavilion types that we'll have, that you see that are popping up all over the place. And then the other places are their neighborhood strip centers. We tend to focus on that. We like uh, to keep it where it's got that high traffic, because that helps with the national tenants, which is a benefit. And I think that's really key
Well,
with us, is
that's
that.
what I was going to ask you is like what. Let's just pick one of your strip centers. How many stores would it have? I know it's all over the place, but just pick one, and how many different tenants do you have in that strip center? And then
So the one
what?
behind me that we have in Kentucky is four. So it's
Oh, okay.
small, right?
Yeah.
But the other one that we have, for example, in Wisconsin, it has nine tenants in it.
And so let's say it's around a little bit larger, the 7, 8, 9, 10 type facility. What percentage is like the perfect mix of national versus local tenants for you? Like, what are you looking for?
Um, well, I don't have an actual number, like a percentage mix.
Okay.
What
Yeah.
we do is we look for a nice national tenant or two. That will be the pull in for the foot traffic. And then we look at the smaller businesses and a mix of that. And I think it's really important to have the right mix of businesses in there.
Mm.
I've seen strip centers where you'll have a nail salon, and then you'll have a beauty shop that does nails also, and then you have a massage place, and that's too much, right? You have competing businesses,
Yeah,
so
you
we
don't
like to
want
give
two
it.
pizza joints side by side necessarily.
Exactly. And a lot of times those are written in the leases, but we also like to make sure that we have, um, you know, a good mix of, like the one in Wisconsin, we have a cleaners in there, a solo salon. and a coffee shop and we have drive-throughs at each end. That's
Mm.
kind of my perfect picture one because
Mm.
that traffic, we get the drive-through traffic, which is great for
Drive-through
people.
restaurants, like fast food restaurants, what you're talking about there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And those tell the time. So, especially with Uber Eats as being popular, that can service that type of deal.
Hmm.
But we like that kind of, we learned that in COVID, having those drive-throughs, having that flexibility
Yeah.
in that, having, service oriented, type of businesses that provide services to the community, local community, where everybody is. And now that we have more people working from home, or that mix of working from home, those neighborhood strip centers have done very well in those areas.
So, we hear about the failure rate of new businesses. I can't remember what it is anymore, but like 80% flop in the
I think
first
it's
5 years,
90%, yeah, new
or
business.
yeah, in the first 5 years or whatnot. So this business really revolves around kind of having long-term tenants, long-term
Yeah.
leases set up, structured properly. You've been doing this for a while. What have you kind of found is the typical turnover, especially of those local businesses? Like, do those stats hold up in your experience, or are you tending to look for companies that are already been through the fire and have made it out the other side of those first 5 years or whatnot?
It depends on the business type, I would
Mm,
say. I think we saw a lot of fallout with when Amazon and the e-commerce came on.
mhm.
Like I mentioned, bookstores earlier. You're not seeing a lot of those
No.
about anymore, and then we've seen a lot of those type of businesses fall out. Right, the
Mhm.
ones that are around now that are looking to grow and or expand, whether it be regional or national, have stand this test of time. The mom and pop type of businesses like the nail salons, they'll stay there. They may change ownerships,
Mhm.
but they'll actually continue to move on. Restaurants, most of them do pretty well. I mean, as long as they have a following, in a good location, which we have a few restaurants in our shopping centers that have done well. And then the typical medical, we have a chiropractor office, that
Mhm.
type of thing. So we have a mix of what they call that medtail, with a little medical mix in with a retail,
Okay.
where they'll service that. So there's quite a bit. There's a variety, so much of a variety there that we're not heavy in one area. And in our mixes, to go back to your question
Mhm.
about the percentage mix, that if one thing fails, it opens up a vacancy. It doesn't take all of them down at the same time.
Yeah,
Similar
that's
type of
important.
businesses.
A little bit more stable. So as we're wrapping up the conversation here, Cindy, I understand that I think you guys have kind of self-funded most of your projects to date, and
Yeah.
now you're starting to expand and you're looking to bring on investors. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we've been doing this for about 12 years.
Nice.
We've done, like I said, we have a 43% IRR on our retail. We have now just sold a property in Kansas as part of our portfolio, and we want to open that up to investors and bring investors along with us. And it gives us an opportunity to buy a larger square footage strip center. And also, it's been a way that we've been able to personally increase our net worth by 5x over the last 12 years. So we've been doing that, and we want to bring other investors along and show them how they can do it and do it passively. We've got the experience, we've got the recipe on how to pick the right properties, we've got the network of partners throughout the nation to help us, in supporting that effort. And we're just opening up the door and saying, hey, if you want to come and invest, we can invest with someone that's tried true, and we've got experience in doing it.
Wonderful. Cindy, if people want to connect with you, where should they go?
It's pretty easy. You can connect with us via our website. You just have to type in invest with peach, all one word, .com, and it'll take you to our website. You can access there, and it has all my contact information.
Sounds good. Well, Cindy, thanks very much for explaining the ins and outs of strip malls.
Perfect. Thanks, Dave.
Uh, All right, everybody, take care, and we will see you on the next. Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewsyou.com.